Hey, how's it going guys? It's Robin here, glad you made it. In this video, we're gonna be testing two graphics cards in Shadow of the Tomb Raider to see if it's something you want to consider. Now, adding another graphics card to your system can actually be a really cheap way of gaining more frames per second, and many times it's actually quite a lot cheaper than buying a new graphics card. Now, keep in mind, not all graphics cards are capable of running in SLI, so you need to look this up first, and if your card can actually support either SLI or Crossfire if you're in the red team, so to speak, before you jump on the used market. Now, I want to know in the comments, guys, what AAA games should I test in upcoming videos. In the past, we have looked at Assassin's Creed Odyssey, Forza Horizon 4, and also Battlefield 5 and Black Ops 4. You can find those videos down below. Now, a few things before we get started. Something to be aware of if you're considering two cards. Make sure you have a motherboard that supports dual graphics cards, and you need to have pretty good airflow in your case as well, and a quality power supply. I link up my specifications on this PC I tested on down below. Now, at first glance, Shadow of the Tomb Raider seems to be missing legitimate SLI support. However, this can easily be fixed by downloading the NVIDIA Inspector and set up a profile. Now, I'm gonna show you guys super quick how this is done. Simply fire up the software and on the drop down select Shadow of the Tomb Raider, and you want to set SLI compatibility bits DX10, DX11 to Rise of the Tomb Raider. You want to scroll down a bit to NVIDIA predefined number of GPUs and set that one to DX10_4. And lastly, on NVIDIA predefined SLI mode on DX10, you want to set this one to DX10 and force AFR, and you're good to go here. Now, as you guys may know, one of the major drawbacks with SLI is that it's not supporting DX12. Thankfully, Shadow of the Tomb Raider does support DX11. However, the experience with DX11 and SLI isn't very good, as you can see from these screen captures from a dude on Reddit. And so instead of focusing on DX11, we gotta be focusing on DX12 instead. So even though SLI has no official support for DX12, as far as I know at least, let me know in the comments, guys, if I am wrong. Two graphics cards can actually handle this game pretty damn good in DX12 anyway. So I'm gonna be using the latest driver here, and as opposed in this video, the latest driver available is for 17.22. I'm gonna be testing on my main gaming rig, which is an AMD Ryzen 1700 with a 370X board and with 16GB of RAM, running in 3000 MHz, and I'm running the latest build of Windows 10. Also, we gotta be running the built-in benchmark in Shadow of the Tomb Raider. And before we jump into the testing, let's have a quick look at the recommended requirements. So, a quick look at the recommendation requirements tells us that we need at least a GTX 1060 6GB from NVIDIA, or a RX 480 8GB from AMD. Now, the GTX 1060 performs similar to the older GTX 980, so it's about 20% faster than the GTX 970 we gotta be running on in this video. So we should be able to hit at least 40 to 50 FPS pretty easily, even with higher details. Now let's start by deactivating SLI and start with just one card, running the game in the highest setting with SMAA, anti-aliasing activated in 1080p resolution. With the single GTX 970, we're able to reach an average frame rate of 48 frames per second, with lows at 36 and highs at the 100 mark. Now, the cool thing about this benchmark tool is that it also tells us that we are 99% GPU bound here, meaning that the graphics card is holding our system back from reaching even higher numbers. So that's a good indication. That should mean that if we have more graphics power, we are potentially gonna be able to reach even higher frame rate. In other words, our bottleneck is our graphics card here. Anyway, let's activate SLI and see what happens. Now, with two graphics cards being pushed almost to its fully potential, we can see that we're able to reach 88 FPS average, which means that we're almost doubling our performance, we're almost doubling our frame rate with two graphics cards in our system with the SLI fix applied. Should be said. Something to note here is that the GPU bound is only 30%, and yeah, I was also noticing this throughout the benchmark that the GPU weren't never really fully utilized, so that essentially suggests that the CPU is potentially bottlenecking us in this test here. Now that got me curious, so I went online to find answers. It turns out that many users seems to be getting similar results regardless of what CPU, so it simply seems like the scaling between each card is not 100%. I also tried different settings to try and put even more stress on the GPUs, but I never managed to get more than 40% GPU bound in SLI. Still though guys, I'm quite happy with these results. So to try and summarize the experience, does SLI work in Shadow of the Tomb Raider, and is it worth it? Yes, I definitely think it is. By following the examples on the internet and how you apply this SLI fix, you will gain a ton of FPS by adding another graphics card to your system. And so if you can find a cheap similar card on the used market, it can definitely be a smart upgrade if you want to save up for, let's say, new graphics card later down next year. Maybe you want to consider the next generation Navi from AMD or the RTX cards from Nvidia, who knows. Now I gotta say guys, I'm picky when it comes to frame rate, and I cannot stand jitter, frame tear or any sort of lags. I honestly have no problems running games in SLI. Some people are laughing at gamers running with dual graphics cards in 2018. I gotta say guys, I'm laughing right back. Now in highly competitors such as CSGO, Fortnite, League, Overwatch and Dota, you don't have to use dual graphics cards to get decent frame rate. In those cases, you can simply turn off SLI and it's not a big of a deal. Now what it is that given SLI such a big no stamp is the fact that it's not supporting DX12, and in this particular case SLI in DX12 turns out to be a pretty good experience. However, something to have in mind, this is always not the case. Now for this case however, the game ran fine in DX12 in SLI even though it's not supported, and yeah, I highly recommend you to stick to DX12 in this title because it works almost perfectly with just minor bugs you might not even notice here, such as light flicker during a few cutscenes. That's basically what I was noticing from all the testing I've done so far. Now I cannot say for sure if editing your SLI profile with the NVIDIA Inspector will help you out in DX12. I don't think so, but I haven't tested this, so I cannot confirm. Now, if you have tried this game without the NVIDIA Inspector, let us know if it works well or not. Now, if you, on the other hand, rather skip SLI and just focus on one card, I highly recommend the GTX 1060 or the RX 580 or the RX 590. Those cards are brilliant budget cards that you can find pretty cheap. I'll link up a few ones down below, and with these cards you should reach 60 FPS in many, or most should I say, AAA titles as of right now. And yeah, that concludes this video guys. Now let me know your thoughts in the comments guys, and yeah, I'm gonna be back with more videos in just a second. In the meantime, have an awesome day, alright? Bye.